Sunday, but I got so damn depressed that I set my sights on Monday.
All right. I am very excited. Very excited. Welcome back to another episode of the Mission Control Podcast. Johnny, thank you for being here.
Ooh, I wouldn't miss this for the world.
Oh, yeah. Not at all. We have a very special guest. His name is Rob Nassif. How are you, Rob?
Daryl, I'm fantastic. Johnny, thanks for being here, buddy. This is awesome.
Yeah. First of all, congratulations on this beautiful space. Yeah?
Thank you so much.
I don't know where to begin. You guys put a lot of effort into this space. We've been watching very closely on Instagram. How's it been? How was the whole process?
Well, it was a big process.
Yeah.
We started 6th of March.
Wow.
And so 6th of March 2021 we started, and it is now the 15th of June. So it was definitely a process. This was actually the first room we started, old room 8. Mm-hmm. And it's a special room to me because this was where Gyroscope did our second album. But also it's the only room we've ever rented out to a podcast. And that was your podcast back in, I don't know, when was that, guys? 16?
3
17?
years ago.
Yeah.
About that, yeah.
3 or 4 years ago, yeah. I had just got back from Melbourne and we had already been doing the podcast a little bit, just at my house.
Yeah.
Super casual.
Yeah.
And we were thinking, like, how can we step it up and go to a space that's, like, dedicated? We can shut the door, be isolated, and we gave it a crack. We had our own little cheap Big W $50 table. We put some cloth over it, and we just, whatever mics we could grab, we just kind of put it all together.
Yeah.
But also the vibe and the energy that this place has as well. Just being around music and just that. It's got a good feel here.
It was great. We loved having you here. And it was awesome because I love podcasts myself personally, and then having a podcast rent the space. And that's probably what planted the seed of this whole idea of creating a dedicated podcast space. Yeah. And it's nice to be done. It's
Absolutely,
really nice.
Yeah. I mean, because you guys have always been about community over everything else, right?
Yeah,
I mean, it's more than just a jam room here.
Yeah.
You're creating a whole space, an ecosystem almost.
Big time.
And I think that's what kind of sets you guys aside from everywhere else that we've been to anyway.
Yeah. That's the hope, hey? And it's kind of cool because part of like building a community is you make new friends and you discover new things and you learn along the way. Yeah. So the first person I emailed when I was interested in this idea was you, Daryl.
That's right.
And you gave me so much advice. Thank you.
That's okay. No, thank you for considering us and just for having us. I mean, it's been amazing. You guys facilitated, I don't know how many episodes, 20, 30 at least.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. And that kind of launched us into, a whole new wavelength where we started getting kind of serious about putting, quality stuff out.
Yeah, especially with the video as well. Sort of showing off the room, and to be able to sort of show the room now as well, how much of it's transformed.
I'm stoked.
Yeah. Amazing.
Thank you guys. Thanks for coming down. Yeah. This is the first podcast ever, and I get to in this room with the new setup. So thank you. It's great. It's so apt that you guys are doing it. I'm just stoked. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. So this is like the only podcast you've done? Is that right? Have you done any other ones?
The only other one I did was Mission Control back in 2017-18.
Oh my God.
I think that was the only other one. Yeah, I haven't really done a lot of podcasts. Done a lot of radio back in the day with Gyro, but not so much podcasts. No.
Yeah. Some of the best talkers don't have podcasts.
Yeah.
And some of the worst people have all the airtime, like us.
Yeah. You guys are great.
Because none of us are skilled in any way. We just kind of have the passion for it.
Yeah, but that's the most important thing. You've got the passion. That's it.
Yeah. Just the drive to put out content. I always feel like we should be putting out more. There's
you
always
guys
a
do
drive
great.
there. Yeah.
You guys do great. You're still going. You're up to like 150 plus episodes. There's not many people that make it to 150 plus in the podcast world. You're probably in the 1%. I mean, that says something in itself. Well done. It's great.
Yeah.
Cheers.
That's true. A lot of people come and go. We've seen a lot of podcasts come and go. They see how hard it is after the third episode or whatever, and it is a very hard thing.
Hard.
You're putting yourself out there as well. You've got to
big time.
Yeah,
big time. I did like 6 Zoom podcasts back when COVID first hit, and it was hard. It was stressful in a way, putting yourself out there like that. And we were filming them live at the time on Zoom, and we were, would get people from the Hen House and the community here to ask questions within the podcast, and it was a big experience, and like the preparation for it, and yeah.
Did you freak out at all? How'd you
I
go?
did a little. It was just also, I think because with the time change, I was in New York, and we were doing them at 7 or 8 o'clock at night here. So that was 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning in New York. So it was like that was like another little aspect to it. But after doing the first couple, felt a bit better, and actually really enjoyed it because I got comfortable with it, and it was cool. We did Kenny from Birds of Tokyo Carnival, Kev from Jebediah, Geordie from San Cisco. Yeah, it was just cool because it was just trying to share what everyone was going through with COVID and their bands, and then also trying to learn a few things. Like it always fascinated me how Carnival sort of came out of they were around for such a long time and then dropped The Martyr, which is still one of like the classic Perth albums. So it was really nice for me just to indulge my curiosity around how Kenny went about doing that. And that's the beautiful thing about podcasting. You get to sort of indulge your curiosity and your passion at the same time, and sort of learn at the same time as well.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Well, that's what I kind of like about this space, especially with that nice little desk that's got there. It feels inviting, especially for newer people that want to get into podcasts, and it's not that sort of scary. Oh, where do I start? What do I do? It's here.
It's
ready
very
to roll.
It's very grueling process. I mean, when we were first starting out, it was a struggle to even wrap our heads around the coding and how do you even get something onto someone's phone, you know, or through the Apple Podcast. But now the whole process has evolved. It's very streamlined now.
It's pretty amazing. Yeah.
Come a long way. Yeah.
I'm more impressed by the mics that go into the desk.
Yeah, it's pretty good, isn't it?
Our cable management is so terrible.
Yeah.
And I'm a bit of a cable management, won't say the word, but going into the desk, I love it. That's really cool.
Yeah.
It's labeled as well, so we know which is which.
Yeah, and look, I'd like to take the credit for it, but I'd seen this somewhere before in another podcast studio, and I was really impressed by it as well. And then I was asking my buddies at Soundtown here in Aussie Park, where I buy all my gear from, and they were looking at me like, this is no problem. We do this all the time. This is just easy as it gets. And we did a couple of cool things. So like we put the PowerPoint in the middle of the desk as well, so that we can put chargers or whatever else you need. We could always put a power board as well. But what we did with the PowerPoint there is that's then connected to a kettle cord connector. So if we ever wanted to move the desk out for filming reasons, or we even wanted to move this into the big room because you guys were doing a live podcast and you wanted to do it in room 3, we can actually move the whole entire desk and then just plug it in over there through a kettle cord. And then everything, including that, is all powered just through that one kettle cord connection. Yeah. So there's like a lot of little things we tried to think about as we maybe move this around or expand or do extra desks if this gets popular.
Yeah,
that's
portability
really
is definitely
just portability. Yeah. But simplicity for me is like the number one driver here, because I think there's a lot of people, myself included, that would love to start a podcast, but it's just then when you start breaking down the things you need, like just a microphone. That's the first thing. So we got all top of the line microphones. It's set up on the boom, so it's nice. Created a nice environment for filming, and then you've got the Rodecaster desk to help sort of do it all. So yeah, hopefully we get established podcasts coming through, but hopefully we get just a whole bunch of people that do it for the first time here that have never done a podcast before.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. It's taking that scare factor away from the whole process. Which, so what else is new, man? You still drumming? Wait,
yeah.
We're really bad at segues, by the way.
Sure.
The last time I saw you drum was the State of the Art Festival.
Yes.
That was. You guys can shoot me, but I think that was the best State of the Art Festival we've ever had.
That was a great one that year. Carnival as well, hey? Yeah.
Absolutely huge.
Yeah.
Huge crowd. But I got to say, man, like you still have the energy, more energy than most bands that I watch nowadays.
Yes.
I know that's a big call, but you guys are fucking monsters on stage. So,
well, it's just the music has always helped us play like that. I mean, it's just the music is so energetic. Like I mean, it was such a nice compliment, really. But, you know, part of what we've done here is the podcast studio, but we also did like a DJ studio. And I don't know many DJs. And I was chasing a bit of advice, like I emailed you regarding the podcast studio. And I shot a DM to Paul Harding, DJ L Hornet from Pendulum, because I know he's back in Perth, and just asking him for advice around the DJ setup. And he's like, great, man. I'll give you a call in like 5 minutes. What's your number? And he called me and we were chatting and he was like, dude, I still jam along to Sound Shattering Sound. What a pumping record. Great. It's just great fun to jam along to. He's a drummer as well.
Yeah.
And I think the music is just fun, so that whenever we were playing live, it's easy to be energetic because the songs just lend themselves to that. But I haven't been drumming a hell of a lot. At the end of 2019, I left Gyroscope after 23 years because I've been based in New York for the last 4 years and was flying back to do shows. Sometimes I'd fly back to do one show, and the 25-hour flight each way was just wearing me down. So left at the end, did one final tour with the boys around the country, and then didn't pick up drumsticks from like November 2019 until January this year. And a buddy of mine was recording an EP and he wanted me to do like a session drumming session, record 5 songs. And it was great because he sent me the songs, he sent me his drum ideas, and he encouraged me to try a few of my own things. And it was awesome. We went to a studio in Brooklyn, went to a rehearsal space, like chopped it up for a couple of days, learning the songs, experimenting, and then was back in the studio. And it was such a weird thing because we never jammed as a band. I met the other session musicians in the studio the day we were recording, and they had all learnt their parts. I'd learned mine. We went through it a couple of times and then we tracked it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a little stressful because it's not what I'm used to and it's playing with totally new people, but it was a great experience. I loved it.
Yeah. Well, when you've got a bunch of like assassins on their instruments, it's awesome because you take that that whole period away from it, of that getting to know. You can skip all that.
Oh man, these guys were good.
Yeah.
These guys were real good.
Yeah.
And I know they were looking at me like, how come this guy's the drummer? And I'm like, I'm friends with him.
Yeah. I also like being told exactly what to play sometimes.
Well,
just tell me what to play.
It was nice because that's how it really worked.
Yeah.
All the stuff I was doing was really based around what he wanted, which was totally different as well because they weren't really my drum beats. They were his. And it was kind of cool because it forced me to play differently, and it was nice to be in the studio, and I really enjoyed it. And it was like at that point in time in January, New York was having its second wave. COVID numbers were horrendous, so we were all wearing our masks in the studio whilst we were tracking as well. So there was I actually didn't see the bass player. I didn't see his face the whole time.
Just fog.
Yeah, well, just because he had
and
even when he was eating, when we were eating, we would pick different corners of the studio. So we would like just pull down but that was the story of New York compared to Perth. That's for sure.
That's right. Yeah, whole different.
Yeah,
whole different.
Big time.
Yeah.
So, but that was the last time I drummed, and it was great, man. It was really good.
You're a hard hitter, and I fucking love hard hitters on drums.
Thank you, Daryl. Yes, that's the only way.
Smash it, yeah.
I love him too.
Johnny's been busting to tell a little bit of a story, but
do you want to go to the story? Because I thought
no. If you want to divert to something else,
I thought you were going to sabotage me on something else that I was preparing.
What about drum? Johnny feels outnumbered by drummers. You see.
Okay. Yeah.
So and you've got 2 drummers in this room. What are you going to drop the?
There we go.
Well, I can't now because it's already over.
Okay.
It's already over.
Okay, but do it anyway.
Okay. Well, okay. So.
This could
because our podcasts usually get out of hand, like our listeners know that we usually get diverted.
Sure, diversions are great.
What I did was I wrote down a bunch of words that were banned on this podcast, this episode, that we're not allowed to talk about.
Yes.
The first one is drums.
Oh, okay. Well, that's problematic. Yep.
Second one is drummers.
Oh, come on now.
This is prejudice, man.
Oh, mate, Johnny, come on, pal.
Drum kit, and the one I won't say.
Facebook.
Yes.
What's wrong with saying Facebook?
No, I was trying to go for a thing. And
I see what you're going for. Yeah. It's okay. It bonds, but
it's all right. I was trying to make a joke.
No. It's good. It's good.
All right. Okay. I'll tell my story now.
Okay. Sure. Good. Yeah.
It's actually about my first introduction to the Hen House.
Okay.
And how I actually learned and found out about the Hen House.
Oh, great. I'm interested in this. Yeah.
This was actually going like over 10 years ago when I used to do staging, baggage runs for bands, stage crew and bits and pieces. I got asked to pick up some gear from the airport.
Okay.
Like a bunch of guitars and an amp stuff. And I was asked to bring it to an address.
Okay.
And I was driving around, totally lost, had no idea where it was. Had the email, like, I'll take it to this address. Turned out it was the Hen House.
Beauty.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
And I unloaded the guitars and the drums. Turned out later that I realised that they belonged to a small Perth band named Gyroscope.
Oh, mate, really? You dropped our gear off?
Yeah.
You bloody legend. Thank you.
And that was the first time you had been to the Hen House?
First time I'd ever been to the Hen House.
Yeah.
I remember driving down, I'm like, what is this place? Like, this a studio.
Yeah.
Must be some bands and stuff here.
Yeah. Because it is odd the way it's so tucked away here as well.
Well, I did drive past the driveway today as well.
Yeah.
I got a bit lost.
Oh, that's amazing, mate. Far out.
No, I sort of always think like, from that time.
Yeah.
And just knowing this place has been here and how much it's grown.
It's
since
awesome.
then, it's amazing, yeah.
No, it's cool. It was, we had our 10th birthday over the weekend. It was actually our 11th birthday. I was just calling it our 10th birthday just to try get people down here. And we didn't get to celebrate our 10th last year because of COVID. We was like smack bang in the lockdown. So it's actually been 11 years now. So it's so nice to, and I've been jamming here. I was jamming here for the 11 years before that. So the first time I ever came down here was this room 8, which is the podcast studio now. But this used to be Al Smith Begurk recording studio.
That's right.
This
I
was
remember
the
that
original
name,
I remember that.
space. So in 99, that's how we discovered this studio, was we recorded with Al. And this was the control room, and you recorded next door in room 7. And we did, I think it was really the first Gyroscope demo. It became a cassette, and we released it as a cassette. So
A cassette.
our first,
Wow.
one of our first releases, in fact, it was our first release as Gyroscope, was a cassette that we recorded here in 1999. So like the history I have with this place really goes a long way back. And then I worked here for the previous owner for 7 years before I bought it, doing what Tom essentially does with me now as the manager. So yeah,
Crazy.
big old journey. Seen a lot of different phases of this place.
And a lot of, we talk a lot about places that just have an energy. Once there's a history built there, there's a weird kind of frequency that happens,
I think so, yeah.
And you can kind of ride that. Not to get too woo-woo, but I think that you can actually tap into that. Yeah.
Well, even like the spillover to Hen House Live as well, that whole space as well, and just sort of expanding. It was just amazing to see it just sort of just growing.
Yeah, it's been cool. I mean, Hen House Live, it was Paul Sloan. That was Paul Sloan's idea, who's a promoter here in WA.
Yep.
He puts on the Rocket Festival. He's got billions. He's a booking agent. He books Spacey Jane, Carnival.
Does he do Wave Rock?
Wave Rock.
Yeah, that's right.
And Sloaney, Sloaney's just like a real mensch of the Perth music scene. Real interesting guy. He's always got so many interests. I love spending time with him because he's just always full of ideas. And I try to always catch up with him whenever I'm in Perth, and fortunately caught up with him a couple of times on this trip. But yeah, this was like 5 years ago, and he was like, that Badlands, what was Badlands called before? DeVille's.
DeVille's, yeah.
Yeah, he's like, DeVille's has been bought, and they're redoing it. They're going to call it Badlands, and they've got this like space that's like the size of room 3, and no one's really using it. You should speak to him. You should put some of those parties that you do at the Hen House, you should do that in the space. And I was like, that's a great idea. Introduce me to the guy. And that's how I met Mark from Badlands, and that's how I ended up taking over that space and creating Hen House Live. And really, the thinking around that was just that the beauty with the Hen House Live was like, if you had not played a show, then you get preference. The less number of shows you played, the more preference we gave you to play a show.
I remember that.
It's only held 80 people, and so it was cool. And then we did 2 shows a night. We had like 2 bands and then 2 bands. So, and Friday, Saturday. So 4 sets of shows across the weekend. And we did that for 2 years, and it was great.
It's amazing that you prioritize the people that haven't played live. Yeah,
because they're the ones that struggle. And so for us, we were never in there, because it was only a venue that held 80 people. It was never really a moneymaker per se. It was just a really nice add-on to what we do here to give bands that we all know and got to know, because they would come here to rehearse, to give them their first show. Because they'd often be asking me when I'd go in there to collect the cash. How do we go about getting a show? And so it was kind of cool how that all came together. Hen House Live. It was good.
It's like having an open mic for a comedian or something. There has to be a place where you can just sign up, and it's easy.
Just go do it.
And just go do it, and just get the experience of being on the stage. It doesn't have to be big at all.
Yeah, like so many cool bands. Like Sly Withers played 1 or 2 of their first shows there. Sly Withers just released their album. It'll be top 20 this week. They just did Triple J like a version. So it's so cool to see the bands that have come through from back then that are still going and doing well. And no, it's been great.
Cool. Yeah,
a good way an easy way for me to sort of give back a little bit, and it was good.
That's amazing. Yeah, you guys are facilitating other people
Yeah, try
and,
to.
and you know, setting them on a trajectory. You know, giving them a boost, a signal boost.
I mean, people still got to do it all themselves, but like wherever we can help, we try.
Yeah,
it was a little bit with those Zooms. It was quite good because we were able to sort of educate and talk to people all at once. Yeah, but I've always done that. You know, through when I was working here a lot before I was living overseas, just through chatting in the band rooms. But then, when bands hit me up, try to caught up with Raka Chachi today, who played at the Hen House
played the
party.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I'd ever seen them live, and I just thought they were fantastic.
A lot of energy there as well.
Man, just brilliant.
That was like a house party.
Oh, so good.
I saw,
So good.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And then, we were talking, and they're like, oh, Rob, I'd really like to pick your brain about a few things, music industry. I was like, let's do it. So we went to the Rosie today. We had lunch, and it was cool.
That's cool.
Had a good chat.
That's cool.
Well, I want to see bands succeed from Perth. Like, it's one of those things, like, I feel a real sense of pride when I see bands doing well. And then that sense of pride is even greater when they jam here at the studio and they create their music here.
Totally, yeah.
So,
yeah. I mean, we kind of get that same thrill with our guests as well.
Yeah.
We very much take a back seat and, put them on a pedestal for an hour.
Yeah.
And just a lot of people have a lot to say, when you give them the space and the time and you don't pressure them with a time limit.
Yeah.
That people have a lot to say, more to say than people would think.
It's great, man.
And
it's great
for the introverts. That's where the podcast platform really excels. Is because I think the best podcasters are those ones that are quiet, that finally find
100%.
Something that ignites their passion.
Yeah,
that they can just take their time and talk. But yeah, I mean, we get off as well on seeing other people that have been here succeed. We've had so many people that have, Ben Young, who's working in Hollywood, like people that are going to Hollywood and things like that, directing movies. Their stuff's on Netflix. We've had Jared Sang and people on as well that have gone on to do amazing things.
It's great, isn't
photographers, comedians, anyone. We love just picking their brains and talking to anyone. Yeah.
Giving people a platform to share their ideas and their knowledge and their perspectives. And that's what podcasting's so great, because you can take that in during your daily life. I listen to podcasts all the time. It's ridiculous. Every day I probably listen to three hours of podcasts.
It's just on in the background as you do stuff.
Yeah, I'm big on it.
Yeah.
Massive.
It's like having friends around you, right? When you're a bit lonely.
It is. Yeah.
Even when you're traveling and commuting, that's the best. You have a party in your head.
That
only you can hear.
It's great. It really is.
Yeah.
It is. And you guys do a great job of it. So well
thank
done.
you. Yeah.
Well done.
I was going to say, you're actually flying back to New York.
Yep.
Aren't you?
Yeah. I fly to Sydney on Friday for 4 days. And I get to catch up with my wife, who I haven't seen for 4.5 months because I've been here doing the renovations. She was still in New York, but came to see her family. So she did the 2 weeks quarantine. And now she's had 2 weeks in Sydney to see her family. So it's going to be great because I get to see her family, who I love dearly, and I get to see her, who I love dearly. And we've got 4 days, and we'll see all our friends that are based in Sydney. And then, we fly back on the 22nd of June back to New York, and really excited for that.
New York City.
Yeah,
wow.
I can't wait.
Do you have to quarantine when you get there?
You have to quarantine for a week. You get back. You have to get a negative PCR test to get on the flight. Mm-hmm. And then when you get back, 3 days after you, I think it's within 3 days of getting back, you have to get another PCR test. And then after 7 days of quarantine at home, then you have to get another PCR test. So it's essentially 3 tests within 9 days. And if you're negative on all 3 of them, then you're fine. But you don't have to necessarily do hotel quarantine or anything like that. But because so many people are vaccinated now, the numbers are dropping drastically, and it's a vastly different place to when I left in February. So it's good.
And I just can't wait till travel and stuff gets back to normal.
Come visit me, boys.
Yeah.
Come visit me. We'll do the podcast there. Imagine that.
Would you consider yourself now like a New Yorker?
I mean, West Aussie all the way and Australian all the way. I've lived there for 6.5 years across the last 8.5. So we did 2 years in 13 and 14, then moved back. Then we were back for 2.5 years, and I've been back there for 4.5. So still a West Aussie through and through. And I've always been coming back, but for now, it's great to be based there. And my wife is a TV producer, and she is doing really well. She's one of the main producers of a reality TV show called Love After Lockup, which I like to say is the champagne of reality TV. It's very addictive and very...
Just that title, I'm already...
Love After Lockup. Check it out, man. Check it out. Yeah. It's really cool. She was the first person hired for the show when they had to shoot a pilot, and so she was literally hire number 1, and then she built out a little crew. They did the pilot. The pilot then got picked up. by a network, and then they commissioned 6 episodes, and that was now 8 seasons ago. And there's like 4 spin-off shows. There's like Life After Lockup, Life Before Lockup.
Wow.
There's a franchise.
Yeah.
And so she's doing great and she's enjoying it, and I'm very proud of her. So that's cool. So yeah, we've set up a nice little life over there.
Awesome,
I manage a couple of bands, and then I still work on the Hen House daily every day. Always trying to think of ways to make it better. And sort of the last year, especially with COVID over there and sort of the lockdown, I had a lot of time to think about what were going to be the next steps for the business, because I hadn't really done a lot since I'd built the second studio. And so, yeah, that was really like the last, 8 months before I came here was just like planning, okay, what are other things we can try? How do we want to build the new rooms? So it's so nice because it's been probably, it was a 4.5 month build plus the 8 months. It's probably been like a year thing that we've been working on to get it to this point.
Have you got nightmares about plasterboard?
Oh, man. Jeez.
Pretty heavy, huh?
It's heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to use the heavy stuff because that's what does the best job for soundproofing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we use
so much better now.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
Really good
now.
it
really is, yeah.
Really
You poor chaps. I feel bad for you.
No, we loved it. We loved the hum and stuff of
the basketball and, yeah.
Because it would have like, it would add like a layer of ambience through the audio track that I kind of liked, hearing a band in the background. Unless the band was terrible.
Yeah.
But no,
That's the glass half full mentality I like and appreciate, Daryl. That's beautiful, mate.
Yeah,
Good.
That's good. That's good.
Hearing a thump in the background, boom, boom.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
basketball was always
yeah.
bouncing around. But no, honestly, it was a great experience. Part of the experience, like whenever I thought of 2012 when I built Studio 2, even though that was like an incredibly stressful period of time of building that because I'd never built anything like that before, and I'd basically run out of money. And then at that point in time, to save money, I was still working here. So I would work there during the day doing the build with the builders, and then I would work here at night. And so I was just, and we got it finished within 7 weeks. So we really pushed very hard, and that was also because I was paying rent on the space but not earning any money. So we really wanted to get it done quick.
Right,
so it was just like 7 days a week, nonstop every day, and we got it done. And by the end of it, I was just like an emotional wreck. It was just, I was wrecked. And I remember thinking, oh, we'll never do that again. But I look back on that period of time so fondly that I always think, oh, I really want to do it again. And so I was so excited to dive in and do all of it. Yeah. But this time, instead of having a whole crew of builders to do it, it was really just myself, Zoc from Gyroscope, who's a builder, and Tom, who manages it. It was just the 3 of us for, I would say, 75% of it. And then we hired a couple of specialists here and there where we needed it. So pretty much everything was done by us, and the plasterboard was damn heavy. Damn heavy.
Yeah, I remember there were some windows behind you.
Yes.
As well there.
Yeah,
yes.
like when I walked in, I was like, it's still the same room, but it's just flash.
Yeah, well, we did a couple of different things with this one. So every room has brand new walls. So the original soundproofing was essentially the brickwork, which was these big cinder blocks that they built this out of in 1988, which are pretty good. They're super heavy and they're concrete. They do a decent enough job. But what we've done is we've built brand new rooms, so completely new stud walls on all 4 walls. And then we took the old ceiling joists out. We took the old ceilings out. We put new ceiling joists in that can support the weight of having 2 layers of 16 mil plasterboard. So like that adds a lot of mass. So you have to do really big ceiling joists quite close together in order to look after the ceiling. And then this ceiling used to slant. I don't know if you remember, it actually had had a slant to it. So we just kept it all the same level. And that's why the soundproofing is really amazing, because you've got the original soundproofing, which was okay. And then you've got all this new soundproofing, and then every other room has that same. So
yeah.
That
sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah.
but it's done now, and now you can
done.
sit back. Now you can enjoy.
Oh, it's
and
lovely.
And let it run itself. And
it's so cool because it just looks so great, and it's like the vision that I hoped it would achieve. It's there. Even like I look at the bass traps and I think, gosh, it's a good looking bass trap. I know it sounds like such a weird thing to say, but compared to the bass traps in Studio 2, which again we were on such tight budgets and time constraints, those bass traps, they do a great job. But these bass traps, we even went, and I don't even want to bore you with why, but they look great. It's a good looking bass trap. So
I'm sure you have good reasons for choosing these ones.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Other than how smooth they are. Wow.
It's the old material from the drapes that we had in the studio. We repurposed the.
Oh, really? I think that's what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
Because I was remembering, like, because they used to have the black curtains.
Yeah, that's right.
And
So
I'll
that's
give
the
it
black
red
curtain
walls.
material. Yeah.
There you
So
go.
that was a fun experience actually, because they were quite dusty from hanging up for 10 years, and they definitely needed a clean before we could use them as bass traps. And so I went to a dry cleaner. I thought, well, that will be the easiest way. And the dry cleaner quoted me for one drape. It was a big drape because some of the walls were quite long, but it was $300 for one drape. And I was like, well, this isn't going to work. So what I did was I cut the drapes in half and then went to, there's a laundromat here on Main Street. And then I put the drapes in, I managed to get the drapes into the big washing machines. And by and large, they all worked. But one of them I put into a top loader and it started. It was all fine. It was looking all good. And then it just error message came up halfway through. And so then to get this gigantic drape out, it was sopping wet. So that created a whole tsunami of water. I felt really bad for I used another drape to mop up the water that had spilt everywhere, and we got it done. And the drapes are
Here we go.
now
they're on the walls.
repurposed.
That's
Yeah,
nice.
it's kind of nice. It's like a little thing. So.
Yeah.
Musicians always working on budget. It's like the greatest thing. Yeah.
Oh man, you got to. Yeah, these things get expensive quickly.
Yeah, I know. And, you know, if you're OCD like me, you want to go for the best, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to half-ass anything.
No,
really. Yeah.
no, we have a way we like to do things. Here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Generally not expensive. I mean, generally not cheap. It's always expensive. So
Yeah, I'm looking forward to what comes out here. I mean, I've always looked at Perth as it's an amazing blank canvas where you can see a vision through.
yeah,
And you have all the resources here,
yeah,
and you can manifest whatever in quite an isolated but focused environment. You know, I always look at Perth like a giant movie set,
yeah.
and there's potential everywhere.
Well, what's interesting is the Hen House is the largest rehearsal studio in Australia, which is odd that you would have the largest rehearsal studio in Perth because our population is so much lower. You know, Perth's population sits at around 2 million people. Melbourne's at 4.5, Sydney's at 6.5, something around that. But this is the largest rehearsal studio with 17 rooms in Australia. So, yeah, it's like you say, you can have a vision for something. And we didn't start this size. We expanded and grew over time. But it's great because there's a lot of creative people in Perth. And if there wasn't, I certainly couldn't do what I do and have this business and be able to
that's right.
reinvest the money into things like this. So
Yeah.
it's awesome, man. There's so much talent in Perth, and it's like a West Australian trait, but we all have a little bit of a chip on our shoulder. I do, in that I want West Australian bands, DJs, recordings, podcasts to get up. So
Yeah. Yep.
I'm interested to see what can come out of here.
I always
Definitely.
I always say, like, especially we always see in the US here, 'cause they've got the big companies that help bands and stuff, the big production companies, record labels and stuff. Whereas Australia's very quiet and Perth's very even more quieter.
Definitely.
That's why we got to be doing it together.
Well, there's not a real there is a music industry, but it's not the main music industry of Australia. Like the major labels of Australia, there's none in Perth.
Yeah.
They're all based on the east side. All the major booking agents are all on the east coast. So yeah, we are detached from it, and then just the tyranny of distance and the cost of, like, you know, I manage a Perth band, I manage a Sydney band. It's so much easier with the Sydney band because they just hop in one of their cars, not even hire a Tarago, just hop in one of their cars or two of their cars, and they can drive down and up the coast to play shows. So all those things, it is what it is, and it makes us stronger.
Yeah.
It does, yeah. And it, like you were saying, I think what you were trying to say is people need to cross-pollinate more here.
Well,
I'd love to see more
we always
cross-pollination.
say how, like, nowadays everyone's got the tools to create stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, you know, online streaming, how that's going now.
Sure.
That everyone has the power, like, on a small laptop to be able to do what was done a long time ago. And
Yeah.
you know, if we don't have those sort of big support type things in Perth, but we still have like a big community around it.
Well, we got to build it.
Uh,
That's the thing. That's the thing I realized as well, is that, you know, eventually you can't keep looking at that gap. You've got to fill it yourself.
Yeah.
And you've got to step up to the plate, no matter how hard it is. Because I think, like yourself, the agenda, which is to facilitate other people, is larger than the how tough it is. You know, you will sacrifice to get there. I think, it does need a lot of people working together, which is, I think, places like this is going to facilitate even more.
Yeah,
because the amount of people that we just run into here, and then that sparks a conversation, and then that goes somewhere, which never would have happened if I was at home, you know.
Yeah, well, that's the idea, isn't it? And like even with the kitchen, we spent a lot of time really trying to make the kitchen really nice because people gravitate there. There's, you know, the free tea, coffee, Milo, biscuits, and they hang out. And it's also where the beer fridge lives. And that's what we want. And really actually moving forward, a big part of our focus going forward is we want to do a lot more of that. So like once a month, we're doing a songwriting or music industry panel workshop down here. It's free. It's going to be on Saturday mornings, 10 a.m. It'll go for 2 hours, and then we'll have a free barbecue, and everyone that wants a beer or a soft drink can have a free drink afterwards. And it's to facilitate that networking moment. It's also to educate. I really want to try and get into actual real education around songwriting in particular, because it's still so mystical in many people's eyes. And it is, like, even in my eyes, 40 years, you know, and I've been writing songs with, you know, Gyro for close to 25 years, and I'm still don't fully understand it, but just to understand different perspectives. And I know there's a lot of really talented songwriters in Western Australia that are really open for it. And it won't just be West Australian songwriters. It'll be people that might be touring over East that I think could be great. And we'll pay them to come down for their time to educate, and then we'll pass that through so there's going to be a big focus towards education and just then networking as well, because it is important in the music industry. And we now have a space that's so inviting for that. Like I really want to show it off. Yeah. And room 3 is looking amazing. We've got this incredible mural in there and got an incredible PA in there now. We've really upgraded that. So we've got a cool space to do it. And then we'll film that and we'll record it and we'll put it out as a podcast and we'll put it out as content. And so, there's a few things in the works and then we're doing a podcast as well that Tom
I was going to say, that is awesome.
Yep.
That
bi-weekly, awesome. Every 2 weeks it'll come out, the podcast. So that'll be great too.
Yeah. And we're always pumped when we see another podcast pop up.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what genre, just people doing it. I really get a thrill out of that.
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that'll be good. I wanted to ask you something, Johnny, which was, is the Rob Zombie tribute act happening?
No, it wasn't Rob Zombie. It was
Marilyn Manson. But I heard a rumor you were going to change it.
It was
to a Rob Zombie.
No, 9 Inch Nails.
No, that wasn't. Oh, 9 Inch Nails.
Yeah. No, Rob Zombie actually got done.
Did it get done?
Someone did it at Badlands. Oh. There was a Rob Zombie, and I missed it.
That would have been a great one to see.
But they were actually rehearsing here.
Oh, maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah, you changed yours to 9 Inch Nails.
Yeah, because when Rob Zombie were rehearsing, we were rehearsing Manson at the same time.
Oh, gotcha.
But then we had to put a bit of a pin in that one.
Yeah, so all the Manson stuff came out, didn't it? Yeah. Well, 9 Inch Nails is great.
Yeah.
Might do better than Manson.
Yeah. Well, as long as Courtney Love keeps her mouth shut.
Oh.
Wow. Why? Did she come out with some stuff?
Oh, she was saying some stuff about Trent Reznor.
But
it's Courtney Love. I don't know.
It's not the greatest source ever. Well, maybe not the most reliable. She says a lot of crazy things. So
yeah.
But I'm getting back into playing covers, trying to learn guitar again.
Awesome, man.
Learning to play. So
learning again?
Well, not learning, but sort of re-sparking rather than... Yeah, we always say this, folks, when you're trying to write a song, your mind's just everywhere. Yeah. But if you've got something to play, if you've got something in front of you, you just get back in that rhythm of it and just... Yeah. That always just sparks new music anyway.
It's great, man. Good. Yeah, it was nice to see you down here jamming. That's good stuff,
Yeah,
buddy.
it was good, yeah.
Keep it up.
Yeah,
totally.
Yeah.
Keep the spirit alive.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get into DJing a little bit.
Mate, come use this space.
Totally. And
please, come check it. Come do it. Come try it.
It's so, what's that word though? Coincidental that just popped up because I've always been looking for a place where I can just set up and no one can watch me for a while.
Come down.
While I suck for like 20 hours.
Mate, I'd love it, dude. I'll send you a code so you can come down for free. Try it out.
No shit.
Yeah. Come try it out. Yeah. I just want people to use it because the DJ space in particular, I really know very little about.
Yeah.
I'm not really coming to it like this. I have a real passion for podcasting. I just love podcasts. Podcasting. And then the recording space, that's awesome as well because I've just seen through the fame what can be achieved in a studio like that. It's unbelievable. World-class material can come out of a space like that. So that's exciting, and it's a nice fit to the bands and even solo people that don't rehearse here. They'll get that. Whereas the DJ space, it's just like a whole new world. I don't really understand it. All I know, I've tried to create a space that looks great. If you want to stream, you'll be able to stream very easily. You'll still need to bring in your camera, or you can use your phone, but with the internet we've got now, we've got the Ethernet connections in every room. Wi-Fi super fast. It looks really good with the lights. We've got the lights triggering to the sounds if you want it, or it can just be set on a static mode. And then the CDJ 2000s is like the main draw card.
Got lights in there as well.
Got lights in there.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
All right.
I was going to say, you better not offer that to Daryl. He's just going to move in. He's going to bring his cat, his cat as well, and he's just going to move in.
Well, he would be a great place to stay here at the Hen House. I mean, he would be perfect for it.
Oh my goodness.
You would be a great guest. We would take you.
Well, that kitchen's just like I can set up in the kitchen.
Well, there used to be a band set up in there way back in the day that had that room permanently, and they brought a couch in and they were jamming here. It was actually Tom who manages the studio. It was his first band. It was a band called Windows to the World.
Okay.
I think it was Windows to the World. And Rowan, who works here as well, he was also in that band. I'm talking like 2014. Right. It was around this period of time.
Okay.
And they had that room for about 6 months, full time, where they get your own set of keys, room 2. And I had to open for a band, and then I was doing some work down here on a Saturday morning, and I'd gone out late on the Friday, had a horrific hangover, came down, opened for the band in the other studio, started doing a little bit of the work, and I was just so tired and I knew they had this amazing couch in that room, and I didn't really know them because they'd been in for a while, but I'd just come back from overseas, and I looked at the couch and I thought, might just have a little nap on the couch, and I did, and I fell asleep, and I was asleep for 2.5 hours, and then the band all arrived, opened the door to find me, the owner, sleeping in their room on their couch.
Yeah.
So
have you guys got $5?
Yes. Yeah. So there has been people that have slept in that.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, gee, sorry, guys. Yeah, sorry about that. Just having a quick little nap and stood up and shook all their hands. I was like, well, we're happy to have you at the Hen House. Promise not to sleep on your couch again.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting back into music. I've actually had a bit of a break from music.
Have you? Yeah, you haven't been drumming?
Not really, not for about 1 or 2 years.
Yep.
Yeah. But
why?
It's a break that I don't know. I never stopped.
Yeah.
You know, I think I spent kind of almost 15 years with this kind of identity.
Yeah.
That I felt it was necessary to kind of remove that armor and
sure.
just live and do this stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like I wasn't doing anything, but
no.
And I needed a break to love it again.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think next time I dive into something, which I definitely am going to, it'll be more balanced.
Yeah, sure.
I was going full steam ahead. I wasn't taking care of myself. You know?
Yeah.
And that's another big topic that we always talk about is, you know, mental and physical health and staying well in this industry that is kind of designed to really break it down, you know, and so just trying to control things, you know, smoking, drinking, things like that.
Great,
you know.
Good.
I'm not perfect, but I'm trying. But I'd never given myself that break.
Good work.
And I think now I'm ready to go back into it. And now it's funny, you always look back at the old days and go, man, if only I was less of a knucklehead, that would have been a better experience, you know?
Yeah, that's
that tour would have been
age,
better,
isn't it?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. You don't have to drink every night, Daryl. You know?
No, you don't. No, but it's true. You got to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Man, music industry. Ooh-wee.
Yeah, I mean...
8 weeks sober.
There you go.
Good work. 8 weeks.
Good work.
Great. What brought that on? Is it a long-term thing, or are you just having a break, or?
I don't know yet. I'm sort of doing it as a self-challenge.
Good work, dude.
Because especially over last year and a bit of this year through work and stuff, I found myself drinking like excessively.
Yeah.
And Daryl was a bit of an intervention, I guess you could say. He was like, and I just came back from work. I'm like, no, I'm going to give it a shot and just see how I can do it. And
8 weeks.
Yeah.
That's good.
How have you found it? As in, like, was it challenging in the beginning? Is it easier now? Is it?
No, it's almost was really easy.
Yeah.
When I started realizing how much money I was saving.
Sure.
Waking up without a hangover.
Yes.
And just feeling good and just actually having a bit more of a positive outlook.
Yeah. Did you find that was a nice side effect of it? It really helped with your positivity and your mental outlook on things.
Yeah. Because it's like when you realize, like, you drink sometimes because you feel bad. Yeah. And then you realize that drinking's making you feel bad as well.
Worse,
and it's just that hole that you can go down.
It has a tendency to magnify it.
Definitely.
After a while.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah.
100%.
And you're always running at a deficit, like you're always not hydrated, and there's that fog of always kind of being.
I think
drunk
it's a
and everything else.
demotivator as well. Like
Yeah.
ultimately, it's a demotivator. Where
I
if you've got a slight hangover in the morning, then you're less inclined to want to exercise or maybe catch up with friends, or and you eat crappier food because your body craves it. So there's a lot of
a lot of things spiral from that. Yeah,
That's
definitely.
great, mate. 8 weeks, fantastic. And you were able to just cut turkey and it was fine.
Yeah.
Good
I did actually have a bit of a drink maybe 2 weekends ago.
Yep.
Just to sort of, just going to have a shot. I'm just like, no, not in the mood.
Yeah.
Just don't want to do it. Like,
Oh, good work.
So
Good luck, Johnny. That's
see how long
great,
I
man.
can last. Yeah.
It's good to challenge yourself for these things. It's good to throw challenges at yourself in life, I think,
Yeah.
as you go along. That's a really good thing.
Mm.
That's not like I want to climb a mountain challenge. That's like I want to take care of my body and my mental health.
I think it's also that
That's good.
getting old freak out. It's like I've got to take care of my body now.
How old now, buddy?
I'll be 37 this year.
Nice.
So I'm creeping up to that 40, which is
Yeah, I turned 40 last year. Yeah, I'm the 40 now. I'm in my 40s. Oh,
I swear you look the same.
I'll take it,
You've
Daryl.
looked the same for a
Oh,
long time.
stop it. Keep going. Stop it. Keep going.
Do you have any Asian genes? You seem to look the same. Like you never age.
Lebanese. It's all Lebanese.
Are you really?
Yeah, I did a 23andMe. I mean, I knew that the Lebanese was strong. My
Lebanese?
surname is Lebanese.
I thought you were
Nassif.
like Swedish or something.
I know, it looks Swedish. I look Swedish. Well, it's Lebanese. My grandfather is from a town called Sibil in Lebanon, and the majority of people in that town, which is a town of 250 people, have blonde hair and blue eyes. Wow. Really small. It's right high up in the mountains in between Tripoli and Beirut. And and my grandmother, she had, brown hair, brown eyes. She more classic looking Lebanese woman on my dad's side. But even my dad has like green eyes.
Wow.
And as a youngster had sort of lightish, almost blonde hair. And then my mother's got blonde hair and European heritage. But yeah, on the 23andMe, it was pretty interesting. 48% Levantine, so that's Lebanese. And then it's like a mix of like 25% French, Irish, and all the rest of it. So no Asian, but maybe the Lebanese, a bit of the olive complexion.
Can you speak any?
I can't.
Yeah,
No. I'd love to go visit. My dad went back there to visit his family in 1993. And he got to see all the uncles and aunties and cousins and said it was an amazing experience. It's really on the list of things I want to do. I want to go to that town, Sibil, where my grandfather's from, because the house is still there. That like half of my dad's brothers and sisters were born in before they immigrated to South Africa.
They say that's good for you to go to your roots and literally have your feet touch the soil of that place.
I would love to.
Your heritage and stuff. Like what's yours? South Africa?
Yeah, South Africa, yeah. I was actually going to say, like, as soon as we can travel, that's probably the first place I'm going to go.
Yeah.
Homeland,
is back to South Africa and see where my parents and stuff came
Are your
from,
parents, they're here?
They're here,
yeah.
but yeah, they all grew up in Cape Town,
Did they?
Zimbabwe.
Yeah, I mean, that's awesome, man. Have you been before?
I've never been there, no.
Oh, look, it's great. My parents live in South Africa. They moved back to South Africa in 2004. And it was meant to be a short time back, but they're still there. So I go back every year or every second year.
Oh, okay.
It's wonderful. I think you'll love it.
I've got so many cousins and uncles and family running around over there. I'm like, I have to go there.
They'll really look out for you and look after you, and you'll have a great time. And like some of those places are just magic. Cape Town, magnificent. Such a good place. So
I just like those sausages.
Boerewors.
That thing, man.
Boerewors is great.
Yeah, I love any meat of any kind.
Yeah.
I'm all about the meat. Yeah.
Well, biltong, that's another South African delicacy.
Grew up with that, dry horse, all that.
Yeah.
Koeksisters, do you know what they are?
Oh my God, do I know what a Koeksister is? Hey?
So many people
don't know what that is. Am I the blondest Lebanese person you've ever seen? Yes, I know Koeksisters. I love them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's delicious.
What are they? Can you explain it to me?
It's like a pastry type.
It's like a dough.
Yeah, pastry dough, and
it's twirl it into like it looks like a plait, and they dip it in golden syrup.
Mm-hmm.
And then it gets like a crispy outer side, a little bit like, a Krispy Kreme donut's like a little crispy on the outside. It's a little bit like that. They fry it, so that's how it gets the crispy edge, and then the golden syrup comes after that, and it's delightful. Koeksisters are great, man.
We'll pull up a photo of what it looks like, but it sounds like a pastry, right?
It's
a dessert.
It's kind of like a
it's definitely a dessert.
Pastry donut type thing, yeah.
Yeah, that's not a main meal.
Yeah, right.
Although I have treated it like a main meal.
Same. Yeah.
But that's great. You'll love it, man. Get over there.
Mm.
Yeah. I might see you over there. That's my plan as well. I want to get to South Africa. I haven't seen my folks in 18 months, which is just terrible. It's just South Africa's on the banned countries list for the US. So the plan was originally to fly there, then back to the US, but I would have to fly somewhere else for 2 weeks before I could go to the US. So
right.
I'm going to just hold off for now.
Yeah, probably wise to hold off. But I know what you mean. Like after 2 years, well, when my parents are around, I can't stand them after a month.
Yes.
But then after 2 years, I'm like, damn, I really miss them.
Oh,
yeah,
100%. I can't wait
they
to
were
see
stuck
them.
overseas.
Yeah,
as well
I was
for
going
the
to say,
whole
yeah.
COVID
How
thing,
long?
yeah.
How long are they over there for?
So we have family in Borneo.
Yep.
Brunei.
Yeah.
Near Malaysia and Singapore.
Awesome.
But yeah, they were over there for about the same, nearly 18 months. They couldn't travel. And for them, because they love WA, this is very much home for them.
Yeah.
They just went back to visit relatives, but got caught.
Oh, really?
Right when right when that April. Remember when April dropped and things were really pretty bad, and they had to wait it out for about 18 months. Yeah. But,
And now you want them to go back?
No, I haven't had quite. They're back now, but I haven't had enough of their cooking yet. So, that's all I do is I eat free meals.
Fantastic.
You know, I mean,
you're going to enjoy your family time.
I know. Yeah,
it's
all about the food, right?
Yeah, I try and do with, essentially I've lived apart in different countries from my parents for the last 18 years. But I try and do cool things with them where I can. So for my dad's 70th, we went to Russia together and we went to Moscow for 5 nights, St. Petersburg for 5 nights. Because my dad grew up in an era after, he lived through the Cold War. So he's always had a fascination with Russia. So we had a really great time. We did, especially like in Moscow, where we did, a tour of Red Square and communism tour and the architecture. He just loved it. So I try and do cool things with them.
Yeah,
these days.
That big square with all the colourful
St.
roofs.
Basil's Cathedral. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Amazing
man.
art there.
Oh, it's incredible.
Yeah.
Russia was great.
Cold?
Absolutely loved it.
Was it cold at the time?
Well, we went in the middle of summer,
Okay.
which was great. It was actually pretty hot. And then I went back 2 years after that for the World Cup soccer in 2018, and that was summer as well.
Yep.
So I haven't done the winter. I think it would just be too much.
Yeah. bitter winter.
Yeah.
Have you found any good food spots in New York? Because I know.
Oh, plenty.
Yeah, you've got your spots set up now?
100%. Yeah. After 6.5 years of living there, you get a few that you really like. And
a lot of delis, like Italian delis, Jewish delis, things like that?
If I want a Jewish deli, Russ and Daughters in Lower East Side is like probably a favorite, as is Kat's Deli, which is really famous, but the Reubens are delicious there. And then, there's just a whole lot of different. There's a place called Daily Provisions that does a chicken Milanese sandwich that I really love. That's like my favorite sandwich. If I wanted just a really, it's delightful. It's a delicacy. Yeah. I'll go there. And you just find cool little spots around the place. It's part of the joy, I think, of living in such a big city, is trying to find those little places that are different and unique. And the hardest part is just like encouraging yourself to not go back to the same ones that you know and love.
Yep.
It's trying new ones.
Yeah. I'm bad at that. Once I nail a place, I'm always there. I'm the
Yeah,
weird
I am
guy
too.
I'm the guy that eats alone in the corner. If I like a place that much, I'll just go there alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's all right. You know, I've started really enjoying eating by myself. I guess
Yes.
it's also because I've been here for 4.5 months and I've got all my buddies and stuff, but sometimes I've enjoyed just a little bit of my own company and going out and doing that, which I never really did in Perth. But in New York, it's quite popular. You see a lot of people dining by themselves or just sitting at the bar having
that's how
a
I
drink by
recharge.
themselves.
Yeah, that's where all the ideas come, cafe and just chilling out.
I've definitely embraced it. I think it's more an old age thing. I would have never done it in my 20s.
Yeah.
But I've sort of enjoyed that a bit. But lots of places and just different spots. And even during COVID over there, because there was no tourists and because the streets were so empty, especially with the first 2 months of lockdown, used it as a bit of an opportunity to really explore New York a little bit, because you could still leave your apartment. They never put a cap on time to leave the apartment. Yes, you had to wear masks and all the rest of it.
No curfew type thing.
There was no curfew, so you could still leave. So some days, and then I wasn't busy with management. The Hen House was shut. So I just had so much time. And so some days I would go for a 6-hour walk and just walk.
Just get lost for a while.
Yeah.
And just walk.
Yeah, listen to podcasts and walk and music.
Get
and
your
that was
steps
it.
up. Yeah.
Yeah, and take pictures of desolate streets of New York City, Fifth Avenue.
I was actually going to say, because I remember those photos of Times Square just being empty.
Yeah.
Right, like, is it lively again? Is it coming back to life, or is it?
I have a video from June. What was it? May 28 last year at 5 p.m. on a Friday, and I'm in Times Square, and I just do a 360 of Times Square at 5 p.m. on a Friday, and there's 7 people. Wow. It's just dead. It's unbelievable. And there was like 2 cars, 7 people. The whole thing was dead. It's coming back now.
Yeah.
And it has been back for a while. Nowhere near what it was, but it's definitely coming back. New York officially reopens on the 1st of July apparently. So I
think California is like today.
Yes.
They kind of get back to normal. Yeah,
that's right.
But wow, like the film producer in me is like, what a great time to film stock footage.
Yeah.
Empty streets. You could
it was
make your little video.
The exact same thing happened in Perth, like when Perth first had its lockdown.
Yes.
Because I actually live in the city, so I walked out and the streets were completely empty. But there was one guy filming his video, like the guy that had the video camera, and he's doing his whole thing in the empty streets. I'm like, there's always a creative person taking advantage of a crisis.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah. Well, good on him.
Yeah. That's the best thing. That's the best time, man, when there's no one around.
Like that person was going to have the most unique video that no one else has.
Yeah,
that's so
crazy. You're not going to get that empty ever again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hopefully not anyway.
Yeah, hopefully not, hey.
Yeah.
It was bizarre. It really was, like seeing New York in that light. It was very strange.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of sad as well.
It was,
100%.
100%. More sad than anything.
Yeah.
And because the death toll was so high in that first 2 months in New York. And it was just downright scary, really.
Yeah. Yep. Well, whatever we take from it, I've definitely appreciated.
I was going to say,
moments like this way more. And the fact that we're here, I think we're lucky. The isolation has worked in our favor, which is great. But it's made me want to, be even more creative and put more content.
Take advantage of what we have.
Take advantage of the time as well, the introspection, the time you have alone. Even though all that isolation stuff is definitely bad for your health in the long run, but it definitely gave people time to think and think about what's really important and things like that.
Maybe, I think a lot of people have had that.
Yeah, and like an internal awakening.
100%. Myself included. Yeah. Like I had that I was just killing myself doing management.
Yeah.
And then even with Gyroscope, it was just like with the travel that I was doing to play, to spend 50 hours traveling to play one show, that trade-off was just too much. And I, love Gyroscope and I still love hanging out with the guys. Brad does all the electrics here. Zoc built this whole thing with me. Get on great with Dan. So it was never like a personality issue, but you get to a point where the trade-off becomes too much. But, so that was why I left Gyro. But then with the management, that was just so time-consuming. And then just having that time, as you just said, to reflect and think about things, you kind of work out where you want to prioritize and what you want to do. And it's been good. A lot of people have had it. The Hen House has been really solid since COVID, and there's a lot more people creating, jamming, rehearsing.
I was going to say, in that whole period, and that there was so much creativity, people realizing how creative they could be, whether it be music, OnlyFans, or podcasts, Twitch streaming.
100%.
Like everyone just realized that they have these opportunities to give something a shot.
Yeah, people were forced to innovate.
Well, they also had time.
And they had time. Exactly. They had the time.
They had time. Like the time I had allowed me to really rethink what I want to do with the Hen House. Because if I didn't have that time, maybe I would have just stayed on the same merry-go-round.
Yeah.
So, and I think a lot of people have had that same realization because they had the time to try things and experiment, and that's been good. It's definitely been tough in many respects, and I wish the world hadn't gone through this, but I am a glass half full kind of guy, and I reflect on this last 18 months, and I can definitely find positives out of it all. It's not all negative.
No, absolutely not.
No. It feels like a great reset and a time to...
It is a big old reset. Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah. Well, you're talking about the...
I'm trying to make some bad conspiracy puns. But
the great reset. Yeah.
But it does, in a way, it does feel like an opportunity to reset and look at the wider spectrum to try and see if we can get new things happening.
Yeah.
I hope so. Yeah. No, it'll be Be interesting to see where it all goes from here. Definitely like parts of the world are like getting sorted out. And I just hope we can get back to some sort of normality where like friends can travel and people can travel and see their loved ones easily.
Yeah.
All of that's been.
I mean, there was a post that I saw on Instagram like about, these lockdowns, and with the music industry, we forget how many facets there are. There's production, there's touring, there's crewing, there's management, there's venues, there's bar staff.
Yeah.
Sound techs. That when that all gets kind of stopped, it's a big deal. It's a huge blow to recover from. So that's my only concern, that I hope when things do return that the industry is back, and because we've just recently started talking about old crewing stories and production. Johnny worked a lot with EPA and setting up stage, and
that's been hit so brutally.
And they're already the unsung heroes of the shows, are the production crew, and then now to see that shows can't be put on, it's really heartbreaking for me anyway. But
that's the worry. Like a lot of damage is getting done right now. We're in it, like we're right in it right now. It's even like the Fame, their core audience is in Europe. They're not allowed to leave Australia to get there. So we've just with everything that's happened, lost multiple summer tours, and and then our crew over there that we would be employing, everyone's had to find other ways to make ends meet. So it's really tough, isn't it? The only thing I can think is that a little bit like, we've seen the West Australian economy has come roaring back in so many ways. Maybe not all industries. I still think the music industry's definitely got a ways to go, but overall, from where it was to what it is now, it's come back quicker than expected. I hope that can happen with the music industry in Australia in a global scale, because, for instance, New York literally hasn't had a concert. The first concert's happening June 22nd, which will be Foo Fighters at Madison Square Garden, first major concert. So I think there's going to be a real energy for it. It's going to come back strong. And hopefully when it does, it's like a gold rush and everyone is just like clamoring for it. And then crew will be busier than ever. And fingers crossed, hey.
Hey, Rob.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Rob, would you endorse my T-shirt that says West is best?
I would absolutely endorse that. In fact, make it happen, because I'd love to take one back with me.
That's always been like my saying. I always just feel like West is best.
Oh, that's great, man. Love it. I bought like a G'day from WA T-shirt off Redbubble or one of those places a couple of years ago when I was going back to New York, so I could wear G'day from WA on my T-shirt. So do it. Come on, Johnny, get that happening.
Yeah,
that's your little side hustle there, buddy.
Have you seen that other merch? I think the community.
That's great with the WA. And looks great. Hey, that
it fits really well.
Who does that? I've forgotten his name. James here at the studio every now and again. I've forgotten. But it looks really good. The
solo guy?
Yeah.
Digger Rockwell?
Yeah. That's it.
I love that. And he's done a Frio one as well.
Has he?
I think it's probably in the works, but it's in that same font.
Oh, it looks good.
It's awesome. It's like, I love baseball jersey, American kind of look,
Does he only sell that online, or can you buy that in a space?
I've only ever when I bought it off him, I had to pick it up from his house.
Oh, that's cool.
But I don't know if that's changed.
I'm going to try get some. This is great.
They're amazing.
It's still on Instagram. Is it community? Is it?
I'm not too sure.
I'll find it. It'll be on Digger Rockwell's Instagram.
And we'll probably link it in the thing as well, the description. But it could be under community.
It's really cool West Australian merch. That's what it is.
Exactly.
It's cool.
And someone made it, and it's going directly to that. That's
a great suggestion. I'm going to try get some.
Yeah. You guys have killer merch, by the way.
Oh, thanks, bud.
You have some of the coolest retro-y shirts.
Yeah, we try. We're always trying to have a little bit of merch. I don't know. We sell it in the vending machine. It's just a bit of fun.
It's always cool to walk up to the vending machine to get drinks and stuff, and there's T-shirts down the bottom as well. I was like, fuck yeah.
I think my favorite one you probably don't do anymore.
Yeah,
it's like the purpley.
The purple, green, pink. Yeah, that was a good one. Sort of breach. The last few shirts I've really stuck to the red, white, and black. Yeah, I got to branch out. I'm liking this pink vibe we got in here.
Yeah, totally.
Maybe we could do a little bit of like black and pink, sort of Ramones-esque punk rock style. Yeah. That would be pretty cool.
But I'm all about the cyberpunky thing as well. And purple's a big cyberpunky color.
Hey,
for some reason,
I'm into
neon purple.
Yeah, I'm into it. No, we like doing the merch stuff down here. again, it's just like, it's a little bit of fun because it's a great way for me to advertise the studios, and anyone that's going to put your, brand on themselves, they're passionate about it, and it helps develop an affiliation. So all our shirts, are either like 15, 20 or 25. If they're ever 25, it's because we're doing a 3 or 4 color print. We basically sell it for exactly what it costs us. It's just to get it out there.
Yeah.
I think we've now printed 600 shirts over the last few years. And we only do like 50 or 60 at a time, sell them, and then we do a new design. And the goal is to just like whatever it costs us to make, including like sourcing the design, then that's just what we sell it for.
Yeah.
And that's why there's lots of Hen House shirts floating about. I was standing next to a friend at the Sly With Us concert, and my buddy was wearing a Hen House t-shirt, and I had my beanie, I had a hat on, and I was facing the other way. And then I heard this guy come up to my buddy and go, "Hen House t-shirt." And the guy's like, "Yeah." He goes, "Oh, I love the Hen House. It's great." Started chatting. And then my buddy's like, "Well, that's the guy that owns the Hen House." And then he looked at me and he was like, because I'd never met him. He's the singer for a band called Late 90s. They're really good.
Yeah.
And so then I met him and I said, yeah. He's like, "He reckons you own the Hen House." I'm like, "Yeah, actually I do, but I've been living overseas, but I'm back." And he goes, "Mate, it's great to meet you. We jam there all the time." I go, "I recognize the band name Late 90s. I see it on the list all the time." And so we had a chat. So yeah, the shirts are cool. Nice little bit of advertising, and
smaller runs are better. They feel more special.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
That's
they
why
become
there's
like collector's items.
There's like a whole collection of shirts. Some guy came in here with one of the first shirts we ever did back in 2010. So that was nice.
Right.
And just a little thing, bit of fun.
Keep doing those shirts, man.
I will. I'll do another.
Totally.
I've got to do a new one actually. Now that we've got all the stuff done here,
do something that you wouldn't do.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, like a hot pink shirt. I would wear a hot pink shirt.
I got to do it.
Like a salmon pink shirt.
I'm down with salmon. Nice. We can do salmon. Down with salmon. That's fine.
Rob, thank you so much for coming on, man.
Guys, thanks.
I don't want to take up too much of your time, and you got a big flight on Friday.
No, it's great, guys. Thanks for being the first ones to ever do a podcast.
Thank you.
In this podcast space.
Yes, thank you,
I
Rob.
really appreciate it.
It's an honor, honestly, to be one of the first ones in this space. Yeah.
It's cool. And thank you for all your help.
No.
Seriously.
Anytime.
I really, you went above and beyond with your advice, and I just basically listened to your advice. And so thank you.
Yeah, no, me and Johnny had a powwow session going, what's the best thing? What would we do?
Yeah, appreciate it, guys. It's really good. And come back, keep using it. I mean, I know you've got your setup, and I'm sure you're very comfy with that. But whenever you want to do something, or there's particular guests, or you need 4 mics, or I don't know. You're more than welcome.
We've always toyed the idea of coming back to do like the season, like the Hen House season type thing, or every now and then do.
Absolutely. That's a great way to do it, where you come in and do a bunch. Even across a day or two, or however you want to do it, guys. I would love to have you back.
I mean, even without this studio, we were planning on always coming back for a really specific run with a specific set of guests, and now this is kind of serendipitous that it was ready.
Very coincidental,
awesome.
Yeah, literally just all synchronized, which is amazing. But
congratulations, Rob.
Congratulations as well.
Oh, thanks a lot, guys. Yeah, no, it feels great to be open, and just hope people come down here and use it and have fun. And we're trying to keep it really reasonable. It's like $25 an hour, and you can come in here and experiment with podcasts and try things. And
definitely,
it's going to be interesting. We should check back in 2 years' time, and if we're not doing it here, then that's a really bad sign. But it's entirely possible. It could become a band room again, so we'll see.
Who knows? I mean, like you said, this is portable. You can move it out wherever.
I might be trying to sell this to you in 2 years' time. At least you've tested it.
Yeah. It's good. It works, man.
It does.
Everything works, man.
Yeah, it's nice.
Rob, thank you so much. And have fun in New York.
Thank you so much, guys.
Have a safe trip and all that stuff. And don't be a stranger.
No, and good luck with Mission Control.
Thank you very much.
Keep it going,
Rob.
boys.
Yeah, amazing. Thanks, Rob.
No
Thanks
worries.
for listening, guys.
Woo.